It's Monday, April 25th. I'm going to call the Selectmen's meeting to order. First order of business is to salute the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have any public input?
I have none today.
Okay. Take a look at the minutes. The first 7 minutes is the public meeting on Monday, April 4th.
Nothing jumped out at me as being incorrect or terribly inaccurate, so I'd like to make the motion that we approve those minutes as written.
I'll second.
I guess the only problem I have with it is on page 2, Selectmen's update. Selectman Pike, next to the last sentence where it says, he said he had a decibel reader on him. He saw 86 decibels, which is not loud. And then a group of 4 words, it's not a sentence. So I think I'd like to delete loud but not loud.
I did say that exactly as it's written, but I have no problem if you delete it. I don't think it's relevant to the conversation.
Okay.
I make a motion that we accept the minutes as amended.
Okay.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next minutes is non-public from April 4th, 10:53 a.m.
Those minutes look accurate. I move we accept the minutes as written.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And those minutes will remain sealed.
Yes.
Okay. Our police chief is not coming in because he's not feeling well. So we're on to fire. Thank you for coming early.
Oh, no problem. Sorry.
Even better. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And one thing that I have for a question before we get started is the certificates that we receive for doing the cybersecurity and all that stuff. Do you want us turning that into CAMI?
Yeah, they should, unless you keep personnel files of your own.
We have personnel files as far as our own, but I didn't know if it needed to be documented as far as town-wise also.
Probably be easier if she's got at least a copy of it.
Okay. Because there's quite a few different cybersecurity stuff that,
Right.
that we're supposed to be doing, so just wanted to make sure they were up on that.
Good.
Right. So currently for the year, we've done 69 fire calls, 82 EMS calls, 22 service calls, and 3 special details. Total for 176 for the year.
Excuse me.
Yep.
Didn't you just read 2021?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, excuse me. I usually have those. I
It's all right.
apologize for that.
No biggie.
I reversed those for when we were doing them today.
Mhm.
So that was 2021. 2022.
Excuse me, is your 2021 year total or year to date?
No, year to date.
Both.
I was
Comparing.
asked to compare them as we go along from
Okay.
month to month.
Okay, cool.
And those are year to date as far as 2021 and 2022. We're a few calls behind for 2022, but not very far as far as.
And your service calls are, will you give us just a brief description of those?
Service calls can be anything from a lift assist. Someone needs a lift from, like they're in a wheelchair or something along that lines and they need to get into a vehicle for a medical doctor's appointment, but they can't get out to the vehicle itself, anything along that lines, flooded basement, anything that is not to do with the, actual fire or motor vehicle
So
accident
those
or anything
doubled.
like that.
In 22.
Yes. So it depends on how many people that you have that need further assistance as far as that goes. If sometimes those people pass away, and then you have others that take their place. as far as that goes.
Do you see a pattern developing of the type of people that?
Oh, obviously, we have an elderly community.
Yeah.
As far as people-wise, so there are more people that need assistance on a regular basis as far as that goes. And there's no set time. Someone, if there is injuries with a fall or something like that, we don't, and they need to be not transported as far as it goes. So the person got a cut or something along that lines, and we just assisted them back up from the floor, and they didn't want to be transported. That could be considered a service call. But in most cases, we consider it a medical call because we did have hands-on with.
I've fallen and I can't get up.
Yes.
And on your inspection, have you done your camps yet, or those?
No.
Those aren't done.
No. That people are the different camps are starting to line up as far as when they want the inspections done, but that isn't taking place yet. And as far as inspection wise, it all depends on how much we have going on in town, as far as new houses and stuff like that. When we go out with Jack to do the CO inspections, with the furnaces and things like that. Those all can vary. So 2022, 41 fire calls, 80 EMS calls, 44 service calls. Special details was 1 for a total of 171. Furnaces for gas 16, oil burner inspections were 1, wood pellet stove inspections were 1, and life safety was 8 for a total of 26. An update on Captain Morgan. He has only been released for light duty. As we receive updates, we will update the select board.
What do you call light duty in your department?
In our department, is basically paperwork. He can talk on the radio if he can squeeze the mic as far as it goes. In his case, we'd be using the left hand. But for us, as far as light duty, is nothing that's got to do with lifting, answering the phones. If you're able to do computer work, you can do that. He's been doing some for us. Obviously, his full-time position in Laconia, they have a light-duty position that he has been doing there, as far as that goes. So. The main fire pump for Boat 1 has received its new carburetor. The cost for the part alone was $759.78. The pump started fine. Pumped water great until the overheat light came on and shut the pump down. The pump would not restart, and it was found that for some reason the new carburetor was flooding out the engine. Lighthouse Marine Service in Center Tuftonboro is working on the repairs. The engine in the CET pump is a Tahashu, and they're that dealer for that particular brand.
And did they do the install on the new carburetor?
Yes, they did. We have put a smaller pump on the boat until this could be completely repaired. There was only one carburetor in the United States that they've found for this. We've also found that for some reason this carburetor was flooding out, that not allowing it to restart. So they're talking to a bigger dealership to figure out what the issue is with that particular carburetor, where there's not another one available. So we'll update you further once we get that situated. Utility 2, the 2012 Chevy Silverado 1-ton, had its fuel pump assembly replaced. The replacement fuel pump assembly was had issues right out of the box and wasn't reading on the fuel gauge, and a couple other items with that. That unit was then replaced under warranty. The total cost for the repairs at 603 Motors was $1,839.86. We knew that it had an issue with an old fuel pump and had budgeted for that, but it was a little bit more as far as cost-wise down the road because of the time period in between. The vehicle also will be going to Deprecios on 5/2 of 22 for front end work. The department's cordless Tempest vent fan that is carried on Rescue 1 has failed. It was sent back to the company for $180 for shipping and handling for a repair estimate to be completed. It was found that it will be cheaper to replace the unit than to repair it. The cost of the new unit will be $3,483, which includes $150 of shipping. The new unit will operate off of DeWalt batteries versus a internal specialty battery, which the current unit that we had. The company discounted the new fan from $8,432 with the shipping with a current exchange program discount of $4,849. So obviously they realized that there was an issue with their vent fans that we sent back in.
How much would it have cost to repair it?
As far as cost-wise, they did not have the parts 100% to repair it. So in order to do that, we would have to have the parts to get it done.
Which is strangely typical these days,
Yeah.
not being able to get parts for fixing things. It's crazy.
I don't know if you see it in your line.
Oh, I do.
It's unbelievable the cost for shipping and things like that.
And that's if you can find the parts.
Yes. The second quote that we received for a similar vent fan was $5,670. The third quote was $5,339.70. We're looking at the department's new equipment line to see what can be put off for the year and budgeted for next year. Out of the 3 units, the Tempest fan was the best price and will fit in the space that we currently have on the rescue. The other fans were bigger and actually wouldn't fit into the area where we needed to go.
What is a Tempest fan?
The Tempest fan is just a brand of fan that is out there on the market. The fan is a fan that flips out, obviously, and it runs off a battery. They'll run for approximately 45 minutes. You can plug them in afterwards if you run out of battery as far as it goes. But basically in the beginning it's cordless. We use them for venting out carbon monoxide from houses, smoke from houses, anything along that lines, to put fresh air back into a house as far as it goes. We have a little bit bigger version, different brand on our engine 2 that runs off of DeWalt batteries already, so we know that they work very well as far as that goes. And we carry extra ones just to switch them out if we need to. And obviously, again, we can plug it into the truck if we need to off a generator. Our rescue truck does not have a built-in generator. It has smaller generators as far as that goes on board, 1,000 watt and a 2,000 watt. It doesn't like running the fans all that great. So we would have to plug it into 120 in that particular truck, and that's why we keep a battery operated unit on it. Tim Christian Electric replaced the front entryway lights at Central Station. The 3 lights had failed over a period of time. The lights were replaced with Lotus LEDs for a total cost of $485.50. We looked at replacing the lights with the lights that were there. They no longer made those particular lights, and lights that were comparable were over $1,000 to replace. So we replaced them with a really simple light. The older lights also allowed bugs to come up inside. There's no protection area like the new lights have. And over a period of time, the bugs packed in there, and that's what killed the lights. He also added a new circuit breaker, receptacles, and load center to the 75 kW emergency mobile generator. We now can use the generator for running things besides at the school. The cost for that was $1,525.83. That was something that we had looked at getting done over a period of time. We just hadn't had an electrician that had the time to do it, and we finally got it done. On 4/20/22, the major PM was completed at Central Station on the heating and cooling system by our EME systems of Boone, New Hampshire. The techs that completed the work didn't see anything for future that we need to worry about budgeting for. So it looks like our system is doing pretty well overall. When we have the minor done towards the fall, I'll just have them double check to make sure that there's nothing that we still have to budget for. FD personnel swept blue sand from the winter, from the lawn and the edges of the pavement at Central Station. Jim Bean coordinated the cleanup of all 3 stations with the sweeping company. On 3/16/22, the department received a resignation letter from Hannah Croto. The department wishes to thank her in her future endeavors and her plans, and for her 12 years of service with the department. The state has initiated a new online permitting system for the seasonal fire permits, and I don't know if any of the selectmen here have tried to get your seasonal permits if you do them online. If you get your permit online, it will cost $5.50 at the time you go online for the purchase. This fee goes to the company that does the online process for the state of New Hampshire. None of the money goes to the town, none of the money goes to the state. It's just for the particular company that keeps the website. This site can be found at the Division of Forests and Lands website, www.nhfirepermit.com. You can visit the fire station at 189 Middle Road during the week to get your permit. The department usually sends out approximately 450 seasonal permits by mail per year, but can no longer do this because of the new system.
So you can still issue permits at the Central Station?
Yes. We can issue the permits at Central Station. We enter them into the computer from there. But as far as sending them out to them, having them sign them,
Okay,
we no
now,
longer can do
let's say
that.
I come in to buy a seasonal permit.
Yep,
Do I pay the $5.50?
No.
Okay.
it's free.
And are there still gonna be permits available at the general store?
Yes.
Okay.
The only permits that are available at the general store are the brush permits
Right.
and the daily campfire permits as far as that goes. But they're still there. But anything that deals with seasonal permits that people are looking for on a regular basis, that's all through us. Again, we used to send out 450 of them. We probably would get all of them back besides like 30. And eventually those 30 people would be calling up saying, hey, I never get my permit in the mail. But that is not the process has got a little bit harder and, working through it. Department continues to work with Camp Belknap regarding the new dining hall replacement. Department is also working with the new owners of the Tuftonboro General Store to provide information on what would be needed as far as fire code wise to reopen the kitchen on a smaller scale. The department may be having to look at additional personnel in the future budget process as we are being affected just like every other department in the U.S. The number of qualified applicants to be call members is dropping, and a lot of departments have many openings for full-time personnel, and they can't fill it throughout the country right now. So we're being affected just like everyone else. We're seeing the drop in people either leaving or not having the time to do what they used to be able to do. But overall, we have a pretty decent group of people that are trying to keep up with the call volume that we have. We have a question in reference to the town. Couldn't we pay the final truck payment this month instead of June 26, 2022? We currently have the title in hand as it was accidentally sent to the town. When we received the truck in 2019, due to COVID, the finance company didn't realize they did not have the title in hand. They are requesting that we send the title to them until the final payment is received in June. We can avoid doing this by making the final payment early. There is no cost savings of on the truck for the 2 months early payment, but it will avoid us from losing the title.
Have you have the title?
Yes.
Possession is 9/10.
Right.
You've got the title and the truck.
Right. Yeah.
It's really nice when I don't have to suggest something like that.
Yeah.
Is the lien released on the back of the title?
There is nothing on the back of the title. The title is made out to the town of Tuftonboro.
Oh yeah, but is it a New Hampshire state title?
Yeah.
Okay, so that should have a lien release on it.
There is nothing because it
There's
was
no
never,
lien- there
there's
was
no lien.
registered.
Because we paid for the truck up front, the entire truck, and they never did the proper paperwork as far as saying that the title needed to come to them.
But this is a lease purchase.
Yes, it is.
Right, so the purchase isn't happening until June.
Right.
So,
They want the title to make sure that they get the final payment.
yeah, I'm sure that's what
Just tell them the check's in the mail.
Are they listed on the front of the title at all?
No,
Okay, so there's no listing at all?
no.
All right, so just tell them to send them the payments as soon as we can.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Like June 6th. Strange way to do things.
Well,
The
again,
law-
where no one, I'm seeing this more and more, where no one was in the office because of COVID, they're finally catching up with it. It's going, ooh.
It doesn't, just because we have, and you can tell them this, just because we have the title to the vehicle,
Yeah.
doesn't eliminate our obligation for the loan.
Oh, yeah, I understand it.
So-
As he said, possession is 9/10 of the law.
But if we were,
And that's what they're
let's say we
thinking.
stiffed them for the last payment.
Right,
Now we're in court, now they get paid.
yeah,
It's just a
That ain't
pain in
right.
the butt. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just so, tell them to take a deep breath.
mhm.
Okay.
And I did send the final copy of,
And there's no interest saving, or it's a lease, not a...
it's a lease.
No.
We've already bared the,
I already have that.
sorry.
All right, now the interesting stuff.
Last paragraph.
So the department responded to another accident at the Four Corners. On 4/19/22, it involved a vehicle hitting a trailer that was attached to a pickup truck with 3 people in it. No one was luckily injured in this incident, but the operator of the vehicle once again said that she did not see the stop sign at Ledge Hill Road and struck the trailer. The vehicle and the trailer had to be towed away due to that damage.
Was this driver cited?
I have no idea. That's not my department.
Do you mean blind or has eyes or sighted with a C?
CITED.
Okay.
Was cited for running a stop sign.
That would be a question for the
Yeah, for the police chief. Yeah, who isn't here?
Again, I don't know if you look at that metal signpost, it does obstruct
It does a little bit.
that a little bit,
Not
but
totally.
not totally. But again, I don't know if we can put a line there or a lighted sign or something along that lines. Obviously, the yellow signs have been placed, and did we do that, or did
The state's
state
done
do
all
that?
of it.
Okay.
They put bigger stop signs, they
Yeah.
put the cross traffic does not stop, all the cautions and roads ahead signs,
Yeah.
all done with the
Stop
state.
sign ahead.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, that was always there.
we've got one, yeah. That's been there, that's on town property there.
Yeah, that's been
I'm-
there since the beginning.
Ah,
But
I'm glad no one was hurt. Glad no one was hurt.
So they were heading west? or
So
east?
one vehicle, the pickup truck and the trailer was headed towards Ossipee
Okay.
on Mountain Road. The vehicle that ran the stop sign was headed across towards Durgan Road.
Mhm.
And that's been the way that everything has happened so far. And they've all happened during the daytime.
Pretty hard to miss that stop sign, I think.
Well, it doesn't appear she's going that fast. Maybe it's just the flames. They had just not seen the trailer. And it was-
Really, it's like, kind of weird. Good.
Glad nobody was hurt.
So I don't know what the ongoing process is for that, but I'll keep you notified as the incidents happen.
Anything else, chief?
That's it. Do I have anything that you have for
Mr. Chairman, is it appropriate for me to ask if Bob McWhirter had a comment or something about the fire department?
I'm fine, thank
All
you.
right. Good.
And we'll get his chance at public session and public comment.
I take issue with that, umbrage with that, because many times the question needs to be directed to the fire chief, and the public might like to know the answer, but when the fire chief's not here during the last public comment, it makes it a little tough. And I'm totally frustrated with these front and back public comments. I think we're such a board that we can keep things to the on point, to the subject at hand, and not get into anything too drastic. We can speak about that later if you'd like.
Anything else, chief?
That's it? You want me to stay until the end for a little
No.
public comment?
No, please.
No, we're all set.
Oh,
People seem to be all right with it.
okay. Good. Thank you.
Conservation. You're up.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Good evening, how are you?
I'm doing good. Got a couple things going on. First, we had Lakes Region Conservation Trust come to us at a conservation meeting and requested comments. You already got it, huh?
Yeah, I was-
You were there, I know. On putting a no rafting zone around Ragged Island on the leeward side. I guess it's getting pretty crazy there during the summer. So they're really kind of concerned and trying to keep it nice, is what they're trying to do, not have the whole thing destroyed. So the line that you see on there is where, on the map, is where they want to put the no rafting zone. And really, they're just looking for the town support. They own the island, but we have the easement. Or it's the other way around, one of the ways. Either we own the island and they have the easement, or they own the island and we have the easement. At any rate, they wanted our support. Conservation Commission's in favor of it. Oh, did I stick something else on there? Should be just the 2 pages, check.
The purchase and sale.
Yeah, that's the next item. You can hold on to that one.
I vaguely remember that some years ago, the state enacted a no rafting law, which I thought was truly lake-wide, but
That's not.
it's not. Okay, I was mistaken.
Yeah. They just put one in, actually, they just put a no rafting zone in on the other side of the bridge on the basin. A couple of years ago, they closed that off, no rafting, because that was getting pretty crazy there.
The state did? See,
The Marine Patrol did.
I think this is a state issue. I don't think the town has any jurisdiction over the water.
We don't. Their Lakes Region Conservation Trust is applying to the state to put the no rafting zone in. It's not us doing it.
Right.
They just want our support for it because we have the easement on the island.
Right.
But they want nothing from us. Just the support that's saying, yeah, you're in agreement with it.
And how do we present that support? They want a letter or?
Yeah, I think a letter would be good.
Okay. Are we in support of this action?
I have a problem restricting water that's open to the public.
Well, they're not restricting it now. What they're doing is just putting the no rafting zone because they don't want 4 or 5 boats all tied together.
That's restricting. That's restricting.
Yeah.
I'm not in support of it, no.
Okay.
After listening to the presentation and realizing that, for example, that the dragging anchors, which is getting into the power line and communications lines out to the island, I'm in support of it. So do we need a vote?
Yeah. Need a motion.
I'd make a motion to, that we have one of our secretaries draft up a letter that says we're in support of the no rafting zone proposed for Ragged Island.
I'll second. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
Aye.
The next thing is we have been working with Linda and Ed Bean for a conservation easement on 35 acres of their property up off Sodom Road that abuts the Great Meadow. They have agreed to give us an easement on that property, and we've had Rick Sager work up this purchase and sales agreement. There's no cost to the town. It's all going to be paid for through a grant from the waterfront. And really, the purpose of this P&S is really just to make sure during this whole process the Beans don't change their mind, and we've invested time and money into getting this to go forward.
I do need a copy of that.
Oh, sorry.
So does this abut current land that you have?
Yes, on the backside. So they own the land that goes out to the telephone lines and the power lines out there, and this abuts to that, our land abuts to that.
So are there any, I mean, I'm seeing the provisions, but are there any other provisions?
No,
So they can still use the property to log it?
yes.
Okay.
That was right up on the front, Chick, that that was one of the things that he wanted to make sure that he could still do, so that is in there.
But no gravel mining or?
No gravel mining, nothing like that, so the only thing he can really do is log
Well, it says right here, the seller shall not remove any trees, except trees may be removed for firewood for the personal use.
Yep.
And we have an intent to cut in our file from the meeting.
I'm sorry, Guy, what was that?
There is an intent to cut from Ed and Linda Bean in our file, so that we're gonna possibly sign today. But I hadn't seen this yet, so. Firewood.
Well, it's kind of up to the Conservation Commission how you want to proceed. If they clear cut the property, you may want to talk about
Yeah,
this.
we were talking to him, he has no intention of doing that. He wants to keep the property for firewood for the next X many years, as long as he's going there, so. I have to take him on his word.
Well, when you get down towards the Great Meadow and that property, there's a ton of hemlock, things like that, which really aren't much good for firewood. The firewood's up on the higher end,
And a
so.
lot of it's swamp, the 35 acres that we're taking is mostly all wetland.
Oh, yes, I'm well aware.
So there's not really a lot that he could do in there anyhow. He'd spend more time pulling his equipment out of the muck than.
Okay.
Is it appropriate to ask to see this cut request?
Sure. So 25,000 board feet of pine, 2,000 red pine, 2,000 oak, and 1,000 of beech. So it's timber. We haven't, or the Conservation Commission hasn't come and checked yet.
So this is contradictory to what this says.
But that's not in effect yet.
This isn't in effect yet.
No,
When will it be in effect?
not until everybody signs off on it. So we just got that agreement back from the Beams that it's acceptable to them.
So they're gonna cut.
Because, they have another 26 acres there that is not included in this easement.
What's the tax map number on that compared to the tax map number on this?
16,221.
Yeah, that's exactly what this one's.
16,220.
Yeah, so it's all one big parcel, and we're just
Yeah.
taking a 35 acre piece of it.
Right, so here it says he's gonna cut. Here it says he's not gonna cut.
It's anything except for firewood.
Right. So tonight, we're gonna sign off for him to cut. And then are we signing this as well?
No.
No.
That's a Conservation Commission deal, not ours. We have to accept the property when Conservation does their purchase and sale,
Right.
and then add it to whoever's taking care of that out there.
So,
But we can,
so you know that this is
I
happening?
did not know until just now. So I can
I thought it
definitely
was
go back
appropriate to
to,
bring it up because I had seen it already.
yeah,
Sure.
Hopefully I'm not complicating matters too badly by doing that.
no, I appreciate it, because I've been talking to Ed and Linda for a while now, months,
Mhm.
and they've never mentioned that they're gonna do that type of cutting, so I certainly do wanna go back to them and say, hey, when I was met with them, and they knew I was coming here tonight, so, I told them I was gonna discuss this with the selectmen tonight, so it's not a surprise that I'm here with them, so I'll definitely bring it up with them and say, hey, what's going on? You got a cut request.
yeah, and there's a town forester, or we can arrange for a forester if we need to adjust your P&S.
Okay.
Or I guess maybe just make sure the understanding's clear. That once they get their $35,000 and we have a conservation easement, the conditions on the front page are the conditions.
Exactly.
It's not, you can continue to log the property. And if that's what their intention is, they want to continue logging it, then you just negotiate the price and
Yep.
talk about the conditions that way. Great.
The next thing is also from Lakes Region Conservation Trust. is that they want to start doing some improvements on the Mount Pleasant area. So they're looking at improving the road that goes from North Line Road where we stopped maintaining it down to the bottom of the hill where that little clearing is. And they want to know if the town would be willing to help them with that, maybe with the equipment or something like that, so they can grade the road and they would do the materials and stuff like that. He said that, I forget who owns that piece of property on the end there.
I'm not sure either right now. Now that
Hooper?
The very last house with the tanks and
Yeah, it used to be on the right or the left.
on the right as you're going down the road. So he's the very last one. He's got the tanks out in front and the
Used to
house,
be
I guess.
Sarah Friedman, but she sold it to somebody, I'm not sure who it is.
Yeah, whoever that is, they're willing to help also with fixing up the
The
road.
problem that we have with the town working on that road, it's a class 6 road, we can't invest any money at all, time, material, or anything, so. And I don't believe it, well, we haven't even talked about reclassification of the road, and I
Right.
don't imagine that we're gonna reclassify North Line Road. I mean, it'd be nice, it'd be an easier way to get to Lake Wenham.
if you could reclassify it as impassable, that would be
So,
more appropriate.
you know, I don't know what sort of help we can be. I know that we can't be any help, actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, not that, I think that access is probably a good access. I think it,
Well, you know, unfortunately, you know, there's really no place for people to park.
Right.
You know, they have to park either up on North Line Road that's been finished or kind of block the road. So there's no place for people to park to be able to get to that whole, well, you know, it's like, the only way is down that road and there's no parking on either side.
I mean, I think they're looking at a lot of money. There's just one water crossing and the rest of it's just building the road up so it's got some kind of base under it. So,
Yeah. I'll let them know. I mean, they just came to the meeting and he said that they wanted to do that and they wanted to know if they could get any support from the town to do it.
Well, we'll certainly support them doing it, and we wouldn't, I mean, we can talk about whether or not we even need to vote on them investing their own funds into a class 6 road. But, so to that extent, I think we're supportive,
Yep.
but we're not able to do anything on our own, or as
Okay.
a town,
Perfect.
That's by statute, right?
pretty much,
Yeah, so.
Let them know.
Okay.
And the last thing I have, and it's really more of just a question, so you know we're working on the Melvin River, we're putting the woody additions in it to create the trout habitat. And, you know, because we signed off on them doing the portion of the Melvin River that's within Tuftonboro. So we already sent the letter of support. They have two people that they don't seem to be able to get a hold of, and they just want to know if you guys knew them, Jeff Boggs and Brown. They're just looking for ways to get a hold of these people to see if they can get some kind of
No
response.
idea who that would be.
Probably Jackie would be the person to
Or
talk
a
to.
tax collector would have that information.
So if they're, you know, because they own property, they're taxpayers,
Yeah.
so she'd know.
I just thought maybe, you know, guy, he knows everybody in town. If they have a piece of
I
property, this
think-
guy
Believe it or
knows.
not anymore.
Except for that guy.
There was a time.
And the only other thing I have is that my tenure is up this year on the Conservation Commission, so if you would like, I'd stay on for another 3 years. It's up to you guys.
I'd be happy to have you stay on.
Reappointments are in June.
Yeah.
That sounds
Yeah, that'd be
very
good.
nice. You've done a good job so far.
Yeah, I think that's, we don't have, what's Steve doing? Is he still?
He's vice chairman, oh yeah, him and I are working together, he's just wanted to get away from some of this stuff.
Yeah,
You know, play more in the woods than,
get more ticks.
more ticks, more ticks.
Right, and we've got a slowdown on the Lions purchases.
The Lion's Den? Yeah.
Yeah,
So the last I heard from Rick Sager was that they found a couple imperfections in the release of the mortgage, and there were some liens put on the property that they have to take care of before this whole thing
so
goes
is
through.
there a time frame that?
He was hoping, so I haven't haven't got in touch with Rick. He went to Florida last week, so he hasn't been back. So I don't know if it actually has gone through. He was talking about having everybody sign whatever papers they can, just not doing any disbursements until all the liens and everything were taken care of. So I don't know the actual status of that, Chip.
Okay.
I'll find out this week and send a letter off. But,
Okay.
yeah, that was, oh, that was the other thing I needed to ask you. I should have that on my list, I'm sorry. Rick asked if the town wanted to get title insurance on that property, seeing that it's so screwed up.
Right, and I think he asked you guys if you wanted to do that.
Yeah, and we said it's really up to the selectmen.
Yeah, it's not a big expense, but
Couple $100
it
bucks,
takes
yeah.
takes the weight off of the town if something imperfection happens.
I get it.
So, I mean, my recommendation would be, yeah, we should get title insurance. I don't know what you guys are thinking.
Yeah, if it's this hairy, it wouldn't be a bad idea.
I agree.
Okay.
Do we need to vote?
Sure.
I'll make a motion that the town authorizes, I believe, do we authorize the Conservation Commission to
Yeah.
obtain title insurance on the Lion property, I'll call it. And that's my motion.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye. Do
Okay,
it.
thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, have a great night.
Bill Jolly.
Yeah, do we
Yep.
have Bill Jolly here? Is there anybody out there,
Oh,
Joe?
look, I don't think anyone's out there.
Door shut, you wouldn't know to come in.
No, no one's out there.
He didn't show up last time either. All right, let's go to the signature file. First item for signature is to inform the board, what? Oh, inform you, the town of Tuftonboro, of the appointment of Robert Murray and Guy Pike to represent the town of Tuftonboro on the Carroll County Broadband Committee.
Motion to sign.
I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
And the next is an abatement, administrative abatement for $19 because of a payment posting. This is the automatic payments made by banks.
Right.
I'll need a copy of that.
This-
Motion to sign.
I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
And another abatement for $19 for map 55-1-613. I'll make a motion to sign.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And another for 25, map 25-2-1. I'll make a motion that we sign.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Just to clarify it for the camera, this is because banks collect the taxes from mortgage holders, hold them in account, and then when the tax bill is paid, those numbers don't all the time
Right.
match. So, application for timber cutting or lot 16-221, it's a lot we're just talking about.
Move to sign.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
This is 4/24, 25. And got a tax levy warrant for lot 54-149, the amount of $260.25.
Motion to sign.
I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
And this is a little more complicated, Bob. Got to sign in two places. And I've had one of those since you got on the board.
Yeah, first week.
Ah, okay.
I passed that test.
Because we got another one right here. Another tax levy for $468.45 for map in lot 16-221. I'll make a motion to sign.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So a good idea to talk about cutting, because there's 23,000 feet of pine that came out that last year.
Okay.
Application for current use of tax assessment. This is on 92 Tuftonboro Neck Road. Total acreage is 33.77. The number of acres already in current use are 26.47. They want to enroll another 5 acres, 5.1 acres. So you should have a total remaining not in current use of 2.2 acres.
That's recommended by the tax collector, or whoever does it, the assessor.
The assessor, yeah.
Okay. I'll make a motion to sign, yeah.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And I guess I'm a little confused by this next one. This is a change of use. So that people are taking some land out of current use. And I'm just a little confused by, and Jackie Rollins will tell me that I'm all wrong, but my understanding of taking property out of current use is that you have to take out the equivalent of a zoned lot. You're on the ZBAs. I mean, I don't think you could just take dribs and drabs out along the way. So in this particular case, you've got people wanting to build a 300-foot access road and then a tenth of an acre with a shed. And so it would be coming out of current use for this access road and then a tenth of an acre for the shed.
And the total acreage, including the access road, is how much?
We never dealt with that on the zoning board.
No. Okay, the total acreage is 192.5 that's currently enrolled in current use. So the balance of the land would be 187.37 acres still in current use. It's off Piper Road.
So they're gonna pull roughly 5 acres out for 5, something to that effect.
5 to begin with, okay.
Okay, so that's not just a little tiny piece.
I missed that 5,
All
I'm
right.
sorry, I apologize.
Nothing to it. I'd make a motion that we approve it.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And last but not least, I don't know why we don't have any. What's the question here? Okay, I guess we have a intent to cut on map and lot 461001, North Canaan Road. And I just it didn't have a signed signature, so I'm gonna make a motion, we sign this.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and the action items, we've got a couple. The Parks and Rec is looking for ideas, imagination, and help with old home days. They're talking about home days, I guess it's what they're called. So keep that in mind. The Governor's Office of Emergency Relief and Recovery has opened applications for the locality equipment matching program, which provides support for up to $50,000 per New Hampshire locality. So that's 50 for us. For 90% of the purchase price of safety and emergency equipment needed as a result of or in response to the health crisis and its negative effects. I've given this to both the fire chief and the police chief, so they can come up with whatever it is they
Sure.
may need. I know the police chief, although he's not here tonight, has found a cruiser, and the price seemed good. He's going to bring that forward, but it's not. He would need new equipment because he can't take all the equipment.
Can't
out of the road.
retrofit what he's got. right?
Well, he can retrofit some of it, but he's talking $35,000 worth of equipment,
Mhm.
which when I handed him this to pay for it, if you could come up with something there. At any rate, if you have other ideas, we have to apply by June 3rd, so. Got an invite here from YMCA Camp Belknap. They're having an open house on Thursday, May 12th, 4:30 to 6:30. And appetizers and refreshments will be served. That's to present their plan, I believe, for their new dining hall. And we've got a letter here from ClearPath, proposing a lease on what appears to be Central Park property for a solar farm and putting up solar array, and they would want a 45-year land lease at a return of $700 to $1,200 a year. So you may want to read it.
I actually have,
Have you?
yes.
Well, we spend $31,000 a year currently on electricity in town for the town buildings and all the stuff we do. And at $1,200 a year, that's only going to take us about 30 years to
Maybe.
make one payment. So I think there are better opportunities for solar out there than that one.
I'm in total agreement.
Agreed.
Should we have someone draft a letter in response, or do we just,
No, it's
Let it
it's a
be.
cold call, so I don't think we need to respond at all. No-
Okay.
Unless you guys didn't
No.
contact them.
nope.
Okay. Last but not least, we have a proposal from a company by the name of Nextivia. Our phone system needs to be replaced, so we have to start working on how we're gonna go about doing that. This proposal is for it appears to be I guess a lease for all intents and purposes of 15 phones and all of the users and whatever for the complete replacement of our phone system. It works out to a recurring monthly charge of $498.20, total due today, I guess whatever day that is $575, that's a deposit. This is the first of what we're hoping is at least 2 or 3 proposals. Personally, I'm not in favor of renting from anybody, but.
No, I agree, and,
We're all in agreement.
and I'm not ready to discuss the phone system yet. I have received a proposal from another phone vendor. I have not sent it forward to the Selectmen yet through the proper channels, so I'm not prepared to discuss that this week.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Correspondence. So we got a report from the Department of Revenue. Did you guys have a chance to look at this?
I did not.
Okay, so
I did.
our current evaluation, including utilities, is $1,216,591,134. DR needed to make an adjustment to that because that's not the actual market value of our real estate of $484 million, $484,663,657. So our actual equalized assessed valuation is $1,701,254,791. Then we have an equalization for the utilities. Bottom line base valuation for debt limits, so this is the limit of our borrowing capacity, is $1,701,254,791. So that $500,000 or $500 million adjustment is the reason for the reval that's going on.
Right, that's
I
the
think we
backup
need-
document, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I think we need to talk to our assessor and bring him in, because I heard that he doesn't have any intention of actually reevaluating every property in town. And he has some idea that he's gonna look at property that's sold, and I'm not clear how the proposed system would work. But as I remember it, and maybe I'm misremembering it, but I thought we voted 40,000
We did,
for a reevaluation.
we did.
I didn't
A whole
understand.
town reevaluated.
Yeah, I didn't understand that there was some sort of limitation on, or modification on how that was gonna happen. So I think we need to get. our
We should
assessor-
ask him to come in.
Our assessor in. And we got a report from the zoning board denying an application for variance, I guess. And some information on the Carroll County Commissioners meeting. That's it. C'est ça.
I might ask a question. Are you Mr. Bill Jolly?
I am, sir.
All right, you're up.
I'm not just on deck, I'm up, okay?
Yeah.
Very good. You're not ahead of me, sir?
No, sir.
All right. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Right.
I don't know if we shake hands again yet, I kind of miss those days, so Bill Jolly. Hi, Bill Jolly.
Bob Murray,
Hi,
pleased to
Bob.
meet you.
Cheers, pleasure to meet you. And this, you can put this in your spokes, and your bicycle will sound like an engine. So I'll just give you my card, and then I can tell you why I'm here. So my firm, I'm the owner of Steadfast Benefits. We're an insurance brokerage, licensed in the state of New Hampshire, of course. And what I do is work with organizations to help them at the strategic planning level. You know, there's different layers to all this stuff, right? So at the strategic level, I talk to decision makers about how to craft benefits products and put in place systems and communication pieces for the purpose of recruiting and retaining employees. I'm in more demand than I used to be because it's gotten a lot more difficult for all employers to get folks. So I do work with around some towns. So Gorham this week, who's up there, Littleton, Lancaster, Colebrook. I've been all over the North Country recently, but Northfield. So I work with a lot of towns around the state. And, excuse me, I wanted to introduce myself because I know that you have health insurance now, and it's a good product, but your package, having spoken with Kathy, is, to be frank, a little less competitive than other communities not too far away. And so as you're building out your program and your vision for how to bring in the people you need and then keep them after you pay all the money to train them, one of the things, and I don't know about any of your individual experience, so I'm not trying to insult your experience or anything like that. One of the things that you may find is that it's a lot cheaper to provide a benefit than it is to necessarily give a raise. And what's happening a lot of the time is, if you look, there's a battle between the fast food joints, right? So McDonald's has a sign now, I can't believe this, $18 an hour they'll pay someone to work the night shift at some McDonald's now. So it's the competition is getting fierce for the employees, and it's always the dollars. That's a failure long-term, in my opinion, on the part of these employers. You have to be competitive on wages. But benefits created a layer of connection between the employer and the employee, and they create more of a relationship. So it's not just money getting thrown at it. You're providing something that communicates a concern about their financial well-being in the event that they have a hardship of some sort. So that's what benefits are at the strategic level. I have a number of companies I can pull from. The one that I've been using a lot, because they're really good with government, they're good with everybody, but they're really strong with government, is a company called Colonial Life. So I took the liberty of just throwing some numbers together on this, so that you could potentially find a way to, within your discretionary money, whatever that might be right now, and I understand you guys deal with all kinds of issues in this pot, right? And and I also understand, because I'm a taxpayer in my town, I like to know where the money's going. But if I know that the money's being spent to retain an employee so that we don't have to train, say, another police officer, which is an expensive proposition, it's money well spent. It returns from an expenditure to an investment, right? So that's kind of the idea. So I made one copy of this for everybody, but it's basically, and I'll just leave this with you guys, but I'm going to look at the numbers as I'm doing this. There's two products that are popular with employees and they're affordable for employers. One is group term life. These are all group products, okay? And this is through Colonial Life. They're a very strong company, like I said. They have, I think it's the Tennessee Patrolman or something like that. They have their first client they still have from like 1940 or something like that. Like they've been around a long time. And the accident policy is one that offers coverage for your bangs and bruises, your broken femurs, and accidental death. So a lot of towns are offering group accidental death and dismemberment as a standalone group product. I think it's a better move. It's per employee, it's $12.22 a month. It's a very inexpensive product. And that will give them, this is just for the employee, not for the families. We can, oftentimes employers will say you can have your family on there, but you have to pay the difference, so whatever that number is. But when you're building this out, the employee is going to be receiving an insurance product that will protect them from accidents on and off the job. And this is designed to, traditionally, not necessarily, it's discretionary on the part of the employee, but it's designed to offset co-pays and deductibles and things like that. So when I got hurt, I was using an unskilled saw as opposed to a skilled saw. You too? You gotta try harder. So they put two of them back on, right? And my accident policy saved my bacon. I'll be very honest with you. I would have been in big trouble if I hadn't had a very robust policy. It offers a $50,000. The numbers here cover a $50,000 accidental death policy component. Okay, so it takes care of two to things that could happen to an employee, right? So you're taking care of the family in the event one thing happens, and you're taking care of the employee if it's a less significant event, okay? If someone breaks their femur, are you folks familiar with these? Have you seen accident policies before?
Yeah, but generally it doesn't come to the board.
Oh, okay.
We give you the opportunity, like
Or-
Aflac, where you can talk to our workers, and if they want to buy your product, that's.
Oh, I can do that, sure. I was gonna suggest that this be something that the town offer the employees as a component of their benefits package. It's well received in other communities.
So
just
did
you
you
know.
do an analysis on the employees that we currently have? Is that I can't.
No, I didn't have liberty to go through and at a granular level analyze your
Okay.
employees. This is designed, so there's two products on there. The quote includes the accident and then the term underneath. Term is banded by age, right? And tobacco and non-tobacco, just like any product you have. So there'd be some individual questioning going on, but it would be guaranteed issue. And then with the accident product, I focus on this because it's used the most. Industry-wide accident policies have the highest claims experience because people get hurt all the time, right? It's just what happens to us, right? So if someone gets a hangnail, they get a couple $100. That's an exaggeration. If someone breaks their finger, they get a few $100. If someone breaks their femur, they get thousands of dollars for the event. If they get airlifted, they get a significantly higher amount. It depends on what the issue is and the treatments associated to it.
So the $12 is a monthly charge, but it's
Per employee.
right. Then I mean, just pick one. Let's say it's 60 to 64, $50,000 is $55.50. Is that annually?
No, that's monthly.
So it's $55 a month
Right.
for $50,000 worth of insurance.
On a 65-year-old, correct.
Okay.
Um,
So where's the 1222 coming? Is that an addition?
So you're looking at two different products. There's the top thin, it looks almost like a header.
Right.
That's the accident, but it's just such a simple price structure that it's just blanket.
And then there's.
And everything else is your term life, right? So that's two concepts that I wanted to introduce. If there was something else that you wanted, I could bird dog that for you. It wouldn't be the first time. Part of the reason that I want to come up was to introduce myself, obviously, but also to potentially, if you wanted to, if you were comfortable in talking about it, talk about your vision for employing people and retaining people, and maybe there's ways I can be of service to you. That was the big picture.
So you made a mention early on that you think our health insurance policy's too expensive?
No. It's expensive. They're all expensive, right?
Right.
I think that your premiums are going to be competitive with everybody else's.
Okay.
There's only so many sources, and what every town pays, if they're doing it right, and I think all of them are statewide. The town has, and other public sector organizations can tap into these trusts, okay, that use commercial carriers. There are only a couple, right? The big ones would be Anthem and Harvard Pilgrim, okay? And then they go out to the communities with deeply discounted rates compared to what a private sector employer would be paying for the same product. And so I don't represent one of those organizations, one of those trusts, and I work alongside them. I work in either formal or informal coordination with them, but I don't.
So it's just the lack, if there is lack, and I look at the policies because I'm not a member, but the lack of the accident, disability, and the lack of term life, that's what you're mentioning.
No, I'm not talking about disability here. I can offer you disability coverage if that's something you'd be interested in.
And what is that accident policy?
Accident coverage is an insurance product that pays in the event of an accident, in a scalable and commensurate fashion. In other words, if you were to break a bone, you would get a lump sum that would be designed to pay expenses associated with it. And I'll use myself as an example. When I cut my hand, I had to go to Dartmouth quite a bit. Dartmouth has a hospital, has a hotel of sorts there for family members, but it wasn't really working out for my situation. I had a 1-year-old daughter at the time. So we got just a nice quiet place down the road, and my accident policy paid for a chunk of that. It was something that I got through the military, believe it or not. It was called a rider on my life insurance. But that accident product gave me money that was commensurate with the injury, okay? So that's how it was applied. Disability is different. You can think of disability, it's not the same thing, but you can compare it in a sense to workers' comp, but for off the job. So when somebody is no longer able to earn a living because of either illness or injury, they can, if they have this product, then they will get a benefit that will pay usually around 60% of whatever it is that they would have received in their capacity as an employee. So it's an income replacement plan. This accident pays amounts related to events. Disability pays for lost income.
So are all events listed?
Yes, in the product itself it would be, yeah. And there's a bunch of literature here on it as well. But I can get as into it as you'd like.
Well, we're not in the business of buying insurance until October, November.
That's fine.
And, we do an
Yeah.
annual budget, so we annually budget for everything, including insurances. So probably the best thing to do would be to come back and see us in September.
Well, I was hoping to, because when do you start your actual discussions for budget in your town?
September.
In September?
Yeah.
Then I would definitely need to be, that's part of the reason why I'm talking now, is because I want to make sure that I backward plan from that, so that I have something that's really proper for your needs. And that's why it's kind of the sentiment, just to get, if you have it, if you don't have it developed yet, that's fine. If you don't have, if you don't have a human resources strategic plan right now, you're a part-time select board. I just, you don't have Ivy Towers where you do all these things all day. I get that, but there might be
We have 14 full-time employees.
Right, right,
This is not much bigger than a small grocery store.
right.
It's, and I'm not certain, I haven't read any of your stuff, whether or not there are, plans limited for smaller operations or larger
No, I
operations.
based everything on what you have. I put in 15 employees, just in case there was some flux there, but no, that's fine. If you had 3 employees, the town of Bath is one of my clients. They have like 6 people. So the size of your town isn't the issue. I actually enjoy working with smaller towns. The thing that the seed that I would want to plant today, coming from me to you gentlemen, is to really consider the competitive nature of the workforce right now, and how benefits, and I'm happy to answer any questions that may come up over the next couple of months. You can always reach out to me one-on-one, all 3 or 4 of us, whatever, however you want to do that. I can give you the information that you need, if you want it, to help build a plan that will help you save on your own time in finding those employees, and then getting the ones that are the right fit, and then having something that is attractive to them if you're trying to recruit or retain. I'll give you a quick story, and then I know you're mindful of your time. There's another, I can't say what town, there's another town that I'm working with, and they're on a similar schedule to yours, and we had one meeting, and it was a really good meeting. He had a guy in his public works department who was getting a fair wage, just got his young guy, just got his CDL, courtesy of the town, learned how to use equipment, courtesy of the town, got picked up by a big contractor that builds highways. It's a challenge, and that's not unique to, if that has happened to you guys, and I don't know if it has or it hasn't, but if that's something that is happening over on this side of the lake, then that is something that this would help with. It's not a magic pill, but it does help just create that climate where people have one more reason to come on board or stay on board. So that's the seed I would plant, is that you not that you would, not that I would ever recommend it, but you could float a bond if you needed money, right? Or find money somewhere, right? Raise taxes. That's one resource. The other resource is time that we can't ever replace. And then the third one is people. And the difference between people and money is people have a mind of their own, and so you really want to work with them. And that's what this does.
Okay.
Thank you for your time. That's all I really wanted today.
No, we'll have a chance to peruse all that stuff. And
Would you mind if I check back in a couple of months and just see?
That'd be fine.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time tonight.
Okay.
Enjoy your summers.
You as well.
Thank you.
Chip. Don't lose any more fingers.
No. We stay away from the sharp stuff as often as possible. So long. Take care. Thank you.
Selectmen's updates.
Bob and I attended the Carroll County Broadband Committee meeting. It was interesting. They're in the very early stages of trying to form a district. And they really don't have the committee all as formed as it might be. I'd have Bob comment on that. That's really all I have.
Yeah, the Broadband Planning Committee is a committee that's being put together to figure out what is in the best interests of Carroll County as a whole for extending broadband to all of our citizens. Again, this committee might not be needed. It's in its infancy. Some towns are already exploring their own opportunities for broadband. We've already reached out. We may come up with our own deal and not even retain membership on this committee. But it's in its infancy. It needs to be brought forward in case it's needed. And it's probably going to take a good year for this committee to really get off the ground and start doing anything productive. But in the meantime, I think we need to do our own thing.
I'm in total agreement.
Well, one of the considerations I think when you go to those meetings is we still don't have the rules on the infrastructure disbursements.
No.
Out of Washington. It could very well be that they end up in Concord, and then they end up going out to the counties, not to the communities. And so there may be a function for the Carroll County broadband people to accumulate some of that money and disperse it. It's sort of like the community block grant money that goes.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the things that they want to do is they want to get this committee started in case what you just said happens. They need it. It would suck to have all this happening and then Carroll County sitting there's not ready to go. So this committee is getting organized, getting ready to do something when the time comes.
And it was brought up several times during the meeting that we still don't know the rules yet, so to speak. Nothing's been put out. It's exactly your concern, but they're well aware of it, and I think their hearts are in the right place.
Yep.
Whether or not it comes, whether we need this or not, as Tufton Borough, we're going to hang in there and find out.
And right now, it's a great place to share information amongst
Yes,
communities.
by all means.
So.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to, are all of the towns represented, like Conway?
No, Conway's not, because Conway just did their own thing.
So we have no way of knowing what kind of deal they made.
Unless we communicate with Conway directly.
All right.
Yep.
I had a couple of things. First thing being trying to arrange a meeting with somebody from the co-op that have been calling. So
Good.
Cammy's out with a personal issue, but hopefully we'll get that set up in the next week or so. The other one was on a conference call meeting with the chief and Alba Architects and the Department of Agriculture, I guess, USDA.
Right.
Questions on the police facility. And we gave, although I was hoping the chief would be here tonight because he took notes and was gonna read it. But my understanding is that they're looking at all the questions that we presented, which were, can we do this without a general, or a construction management company? Can we do this with our own in-house clerk of the works? Can we do this in stages? In other words, if we can get the bid on the site work, for instance, or the cement, we get that much done. Can we shrink or modify the bidding requirements, because they become a little onerous for a really small project like this. So we gave them a list of questions. The person we were talking to was in DC, said that they'd get back to us this week. I was hoping that it would be by today, but it was Friday that we did the conference call. But she didn't seem to be put out by any of it, probably or mostly because it's not the first time this has happened in the last 6 months. And, you know, she sort of understands the idea that talking about a 4,500 square foot building, even getting a contractor to do a building of that size is difficult. And, you know, windows are still, you know, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months out. So if we, that was another question, was if we find a resource that will make a deal on a price for things like windows or framing or trusses or whatever, can we buy and stockpile? You know, is another option that we want to be able to have in case we can, or buy to retain the price and not have the product on site, you know, for 4 months or whatever. So those questions hopefully will be answered in the next week. We'll maybe have them on our desk on Friday. Any other business?
Well, Parks and Rec met last week. There was a little discussion about our relationship with Wolfboro and the Parks and Rec and the funds that we pay Wolfboro, and we left the conversation with Dennis, Brandon, Lloyd, and possibly myself going to meet with the Wolfboro Parks and Rec and possibly Selectmen. Me being on the Parks and Rec, I would be the Selectmen's representative, but certainly think that a couple of us could go if that meeting ever happens.
Yeah, if it's more than one of us,
We
then we
just
have to notice.
post it, yeah, but that's
Okay.
easier.
It's easier if it's only one.
Easier, but it's open for discussion.
Yeah.
So anyways, it looks like a meeting with Wolfboro Parks and Rec and the Selectmen is in works.
Good.
Just to kind of refresh our relationship and see where we're all at, make sure we're on the same page and make sure we get justification for our spending,
Right.
and that type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, two of the issues that I see just glaring is that we put no restrictions whatsoever. In fact, we have a Wolfboro sponsored sailing program at 90 Mile Beach. And yet our residents, and we historically paid them lots of money, our residents are banned from Albee Beach, which I find personally a problem. But at any rate, so there's an issue. Our residents are not treated like Wolfboro residents for the purposes of parks and recreation. They've got a new ice rink going in. I don't know what the ice time costs are for local kids. I'm not a skater, but they're looking for money. And they can call it the Pop Whalen Ice Arena Charitable Foundation or whatever they want to call it, but it's essentially a Wolfboro asset. It's not they have a fundraising arm, private fundraising arm, I'm assuming, out there trying to raise money for this, for the benefit of local children mostly. So what is the benefit for a Tuftonboro resident if we were to entertain giving money towards that project, because I think it's gonna come back. I mean,
He did,
I mentioned it.
we did ask him to come back because we were way through budget season when he came.
Right.
I think we talked maybe August, something to that effect. He should come back and poke us again, so to speak, but.
If I recall correctly, I think the money that we pay to Wolfboro gives us the opportunity to have our residents use Pop Whalen at the resident rate versus the
That's exactly
non-resident rate.
Right.
Yeah, just clarify all that stuff for us if you
Yeah.
go to that meeting, because I'm not sure there's only one resident rate. I have little faith in Wolfboro for some reason.
Well, the lack of accountability at all bothers me terribly.
Yeah. I
Mhm.
mean, I don't see the $16,000 as being a killing item. I know morally it sticks in Dennis's craw, but it's not breaking the budget. It's just, can we justify it?
Sure.
We need to
That
justify it.
we're providing that kind of service. I mean, good luck with getting statistics, but we'll see what happens.
All we can do is try.
Yeah.
The discussion of the ramp at 19 Mile Beach came up again. I guess you were going to reach out to the contractor who did it and see if it could be repaired.
I told Cammy to get in touch with Brooks to see what the situation is.
Okay, Dennis was
And I know that.
asking
And we
where we are with that.
also wanted to get Bergeron down here to take a look because they're the designer.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I can get back with Cammy at some point in time, but she was out on personal leave.
Understood. But that question came up and
Yep.
they're asking. I've made note that Parks and Rec needs to have rules and procedures in place. They've grown to the point that they need to have some rules and procedures, much like our other boards and commissions do. Next meeting for the Parks and Rec is at May 17th, upstairs. Planning Board.
Just one last thing on Parks and Rec.
Yep.
At your next meeting, make sure, I know you have a chairman. I
Mhm.
hope.
We do.
Okay, I think you need to select a treasurer or someone who will give a monthly or quarterly financial report. Although Jack, our treasurer for the town, Jack Whitmer, does the accounting on that particular Parks and Rec revolving fund. I think it would be informative for your membership to know.
Quarterly?
I'm just suggesting, I'm not gonna micromanage the committee, but quarterly at least, because the more eyes you have on it, the less likelihood there is for problems.
Okay. All right. We had planning board meeting the other night. Camp Belknap's dining hall replacement was approved conditionally. That's about it.
Okay. All right. I don't see any reason for a non-public, but do we have any public comment? We've been sitting here all afternoon.
Question?
I was taking Bill Rollins up on his suggestion at town meeting to maybe participate throughout the year versus trying to work issues at town meeting. So here I am. And I know you guys have rearranged the schedule so it's easy to get here, so I'm just kind of curious. I was curious about the PD situation, which you kind of answered. And then I did have some input on your telephone system that you talked about. If you haven't talked to, say, Consolidated or to whoever provides the lines, that they may be an option to provide that a feature-rich type of line. I haven't been in it for quite a few years, but versus, oh no, we gotta buy a $100,000 phone system.
No, this is something.
26,000.
This is something that I brought forward. When I was downstairs, I noticed the phone system that was up there. It's a phone system that we don't rent. It's owned. And I just looked it up to see what it was all about. Found out that it's out of date. It's no longer being serviced or managed.
No parts.
No parts. Anything that anything that we would have to buy would be used on the open market. So it's no longer being serviced. So I talked to our phone rep at the county, who's done the phone system up there. We spent a lot of time doing a lot of work cleaning up the phone system at the county over the last 5 or 6 years at least. And this rep actually, he's self-employed, has his own business, but he also works with Consolidated and works with Bayring. Well, I don't know what Bayring is called now, but it used to be Bayring. He's as an agent, so he's fully involved in what.
Those lines, you may be able to buy a feature-rich line without a system. So if you had 10 lines and it was $50, you know, all depends on.
This is in its infancy. I haven't formally brought my presentation to the selectmen yet. Through my experience up at the county, I know that this a phone system. I don't want to rent a phone system. I don't want to pay a monthly fee for a phone system to anybody to manage something that's off-site.
Yep.
I want something that we own, substantial. It's in-house, something that we can manage ourselves.
But do you understand what I'm potentially suggesting? You may not have to have that. If say Consolidated can sell you a phone line that is feature-rich with everything you need, voicemail, call forwarding, whatever, you may not need an in-house system. But your guy should know that stuff.
Yeah, that's what maybe another good reason not to sign long-term leasing. I mean, maybe that whatever broadband comes to town may change what our needs are.
And phone systems such as this are able to connect to different forms of getting out there. Not necessarily a copper line. It could be cable, it could be fiber, whatever it takes to get out there. So.
And in our discussions on broadband, it's our intent not to contract with anyone that will not service the whole town. That's a hard and fast rule with us, so far. But
I think it's inevitable that's going to have to remain because everyone's going to involve everybody serves.
So that would be a good thing, as we know. All right, I'd make a motion to adjourn the meeting if there's no other business.
Hold on.
Nope.
The cameraman in the corner. I want to make a comment about the Ledge Hill Road, 171, Fairden Road. Now you got 2 pre-stop signs, then you get a real stop sign, then you have a sign on both sides of the road, and people still running through there, okay? We talked about this a long time ago. We were going to talk with the state, they were talking about a roundabout and all this other stuff, but yet you just had another accident recently. And my comment, the other thing, I don't know what else we can possibly do. I had mentioned about those stop signs and the flashing lights that they were constantly going. Would that get somebody's attention so that they would slow down? That's just my comment, my opinion. Thank you for listening.
I guess I'd have to wait until the police chief gave us a report on that accident to determine whether or not it had anything to do with the signage that's currently there.
Well, people have been running through it, okay, obviously.
The signage has changed
Yeah, no, I know that.
recently.
Yep,
And
okay.
yeah, I'm looking at the damage that was just done to the trailer of that. I'm just a little confused about, what was that?
I mean, Bob's point, the question about were there any charges, I would ask the chief to go back for the last 10 accidents and what's up? Is anybody being cited for running the stop sign?
Yeah.
Because if not, why not,
That's a problem.
why not? Because I
Go
hope
to the
that,
judge.
yeah,
All right. If there's no further public input, I would recommend we adjourn. I'll make a motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.